This week on C Plus News Time, Dave Chappelle announces some tour dates for the US, My Rudolph's Variety Show seems to be a go at NBC, and Hulu orders a pilot from Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. Say, those guys sure do smoke a lot of weed. There's no joke here, it's just an observation. Want more unwarranted observations? Then check out this C Plus News Time.
It's C Plus News Time with your host, Chad White.
Welcome back to C Plus News Time. I'm your host, Chad White, and this is the comedy news you didn't know about for the week of August 17th, 2015. A lot of stuff happened in the news this week, especially in the podcasting world, as now Earwolf has announced that they're doing a thing called Howl. It's a subscription-like service which curates the Earwolf podcast, WTF with Mark Maron, and then some other stuff under mid-roll, and they all created this thing called Howl, which is like a Netflix-like service that you pay for, and you get all of your podcasts that are still free for everybody else, but you get them all ad-free, and you get some special stuff, such as shows that they couldn't create without having, specific advertisers that want a certain amount of downloads and everything. It's caused a little bit of an uproar because it was rolled out and everybody's shows were removed that had like a backlog of shows were removed except for the episodes that launched in the last prior 6 months. So that means that everything, let's say an episode of Comedy Bang Bang from about 4 years ago, is now gone. You can't listen to it anymore unless you subscribe to Howl. Now, the service is only about $4.99, which is $5. And if you subscribe to Maron's WTF service, that was like a monthly payment of like $2, then you can transfer that payment over to the Earwolf, to the Howl actually thing. And now people are just angry about it because it was rolled out in such a way that there were still bugs and inconsistencies in the podcast and everything. But all the new shows, well, most of them have launched and they're really pretty interesting. Super Ego has one, and Lauren Lapkus is going to launch a show about sidekicks. And there's just like a whole bunch of wealth of, I don't want to use the word content, but a whole wealth of podcasts out there for people to still listen to. Now, given that this was launched sloppily and everything, it's a service that is going to be really good in the long run, especially in the short run actually right now, because these podcasters, sometimes this is what they're doing. Like when Scott wasn't doing the Comedy Bang Bang, the TV show, he was just kind of relying on podcasting and the live shows and all that, and a little bit of other things, here and there, but it was mostly podcasting. But now people like Lauren Lapkus, Scott, Matt Besser, everybody, Jessica St. Clair, everybody else can, and Mark Maron, who's actually relying on podcasting and stand-up to be income, they can rely on this podcasting thing to make them just a little bit more money. Now, this Netflix-like service is fairly cheap, and if you listen to a lot of podcasts like me, then you can justify paying for it. Howl is a great app, but so far it's only on iOS. So I can only download on an iPad, and I can't download it on this thing because it's a tablet from Android. So I have to still wait. And also, they don't have premium RSS feeds, but they're working on that, which is great. But I'm really hesitant on relying on that app to listen to all my podcasts because I spent $15 across 3 separate platforms for the Pocket Cast app, which is on Android and iOS, and I can subscribe to all of my podcasts and put premium RSS feeds within the Pocket Cast app. It's just a strange thing that just happened, and I love Earwolf, so I'm supporting them already. They've already got my $5 for the month, and I want to see what this Howl service is going to do to the podcasting industry. Now that that's been said, let's go on to the news. First up, Dave Chappelle announces tour dates for the American U.S. Yes, Dave Chappelle, the once recluse, but now kind of center stage comedian, is coming back and he's touring the United States. He's going to different cities like Salt Lake City and Concord and Wallingford, and then he's going to have a 3-night engagement in New York where he's going to be performing at the Gramercy Theater. But Dave Chappelle, besides this being a story, Dave Chappelle is still one of the best out there. Whenever he performs, he usually goes on for, there's been stories of him going on for 3 hours to like 9 hours to 6 hours, all that stuff. Sometimes he just pops up and just does stand-up engagements to the behest of nobody, because everybody loves Dave Chappelle. This is great that he's coming back to stand-up. There seems to be a wealth of entertainment for him to just, riff on, or maybe he's just coming back to just get all these jokes out he's been building up for the past 10 years. Dave Chappelle, you were missed, and if you're watching this, why are you watching this? Just saying. Next up, My Rudolph's long-planned variety show might be coming back, this time with a co-host in the form of Martin Short. Yes, last year, May 2014, My Rudolph hosted a variety show. It was great. It had music, fun, games. Everybody was excited. It was live. It felt great. It was fun and everything. And then it just disappeared. We didn't hear about it for a long time. For months, there had been rumors that My Rudolph show was going to come back in form of a real TV show on NBC, but then it just died down again. And then SNL 40th celebration, there was an event that went down. Martin Short and My Rudolph had a little duet. They sang, they did jokes together. It was great. It was fun. That was actually a planted spinoff. Splitsider and TV Line are having reports saying that My Rudolph show is going to be weekly, and it's also going to have Martin Short. Now, Splitsider says that the Rudolph Short two-hander is tentatively titled Maya and Marty, and then there's no more news. NBC declined to comment. There's nothing else that we can hear or know about this show. I'd like to know more about it. It's going to be weekly? Great. It's going to have Martin Short? Great. But what's it going to be? Is it going to be a talent show? Is it going to be a variety show? Is it going to be like a late night show that comes on in the prime time? You know, see, Jimmy Fallon is already kind of handling the variety show format, and then they've also got Seth Meyers is really doing the talk show format. So do they really need another variety show? Do they need another SNL that comes on during the week? It doesn't make sense. But keep your ears locked to C Plus Comedy, and we'll see what goes with this. And finally, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are giving a pilot to Hulu. Yeah, the big green streaming giant has ordered a pilot from the two of them called Future Man. It's going to be written by Kyle Hunter and Ariel Schaefer, and the series goes like this. A janitor by day, world-ranked gamer by night, who is tasked with preventing the extinction of humans after mysterious visitors from the future proclaim him the key to defeating the imminent super race invasion. Hunter and Schaefer have worked as writers and producers with Rogen and Goldberg before, so this is going to be a pretty big deal, especially since the two of them have written on This Is the End, as well as the new upcoming animated movie coming out next year in 2016, Sausage Party. So this should be kind of familiar ground to them. Expect, you know, gaming culture jokes and weed jokes and all the other good stuff you know from Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg and their stuff. And that's all the news I have for you for C Plus News Time. Why don't you watch one of our videos or subscribe? I love you either way, but actually if you do both, I'll love you more. To get my love even further, why don't you like us on Facebook? And why don't you follow us on Twitter at C Plus Comedy? Follow me on Twitter at Chad Black White, and tumble with us on Tumblr. That's all I got. Stop watching this. Why are you still watching this? Shut up. No, you shut up. I'm gonna go now. Bye.